Welcome to the Early Childhood Voices 2022 conference. Equality is not equity. Challenges facing early childhood teachers. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is Dr. Anne McLeod, and I come to you from Dubbo, which is on Wiradjuri land in Central West New South Wales in Australia. I'm a dedicated and enthusiastic teacher, educator and leader with a high level of expertise of data-driven decision in execution, especially in professionalism and in teacher education. I've developed programs and promoted opportunities in order to build strong and effective teams of educators and learners in the teacher education field and have over 30 years of experience in the academic landscape with expertise in professionalism. I began my journey teaching on the North Shore of Sydney, establishing a preschool attached to a school, and this program has since been replicated through various other schools. Prior to me taking up my position in Dubbo, where I have been head of middle school and deputy principal and acting principal in an independent school. And for the past 10 years, I've continued my educational journey as a lecturer in professionalism and early childhood with Charles Sturt University. Throughout my life, I have struggled to find my voice. And although I have 2 master's degrees, one in performance studies and the other in curriculum administration, it was not until I continued my study in and completed my Doctor of Philosophy that I was able to find my voice. I've chosen this sculpture on the right, not only because it is part of my son's graduating exhibition, but because he chose to call his exhibition Find Your Voice. And although this only is one of 7 pieces, the word courage has been shown to ensure the voice of the early childhood teacher is heard, and to not only be heard, but understood. Therefore, the focus of the work I'm doing in Australia is about executing that voice for early childhood teachers and to ensure that the challenges that they are facing do not remain silent. The review of equity and for funding for schooling is better known as the Gonski Report in 2011, and defined equity as ensuring that differences in educational outcomes are not the result of differences in wealth, income, power, or possessions. Now, whilst this review was based on schooling, the frame of reference for this research is focused on children having access to quality education and care. And the discussion of equity in education continues as a contentious debate around funding, expectations, and transparency, with numerous government reports being published on these topics throughout the 2000s. My research examined equity, and specifically in terms of the employment conditions of early childhood teachers and school teachers. What is also important to note in this discussion is that the concern that equity even needs to be considered in a profession where there are only 2 sectors there. Additionally, it is important to note that this equity is not contained to the payment of wages, but also the conditions of employment between early childhood teachers and school teachers. So let's talk about wages. The image I've chosen here is from the artist known as Banksy, a social activist artist, shall we say. This piece often has the words written on it, wage peace, P-E-A-C-E. The focus of my research and presentation is the conditions of employment, and one of the major differences that are noted is the payment of the school teachers, and early childhood teachers. That is, one receives a salary and the other a wage. The essential difference is that a salaried person is paid a fixed amount per day, per pay period, whereas a wage earner is paid by the hour. Therefore, someone who earns a salary is paid a fixed amount in each pay period, and these fixed payments are over a full year, adding to a total amount of the salary. Now, this employee also has consistency of employment, and the relationship between the employer and the employee is also fixed. However, those who are paid via a wage are more likely to be working on a casual contract, and their employment is rendered tenuous. And given this lack of consistency in workplace, their job security may also be not stable. We can see that there is a need to align job security and these definitions together. It provides us insight into the contrast in which pay and working conditions are happening between early childhood and those in schools. The use of the term wages is only used in the early childhood sector, whereas in the school environment, even teaching assistants or support officers are permanently employed and paid a salary. However, it is important that in order to provide a standard or a sustained professional, such as an early childhood teacher, there needs to be a shared values and trust in the community and the equivalent aptitude, which is not only perceived, but also expected and accepted. We can see here on the wages and salaries in action from a document retrieved only a couple of days ago, the comparison of salary and wages and the location of these in Australia. We can see that our early childhood teacher works 30 to 40 per hour a week, whereas a university qualified early childhood teacher gets $75,000 to $85,000. Now, as we move down, we can also see that a permanent full-time early childhood professional is at $70,000 to $75,000 in Adelaide, whereas a kindergarten teacher is only $67,000, or even a centre director and early childhood teacher, $68,000. The data is there. Guy Standing work on the precariat, and I want to talk about that word a little bit further in a moment, discusses the dangers of not taking seriously those who are integral to providing a service. And the connection he makes in his work provide a clear connection to how early childhood teachers have been treated in Australia today. He explains the differences and the cost structure that resulted from the changes that have occurred in the early childhood education in Australia. Furthermore, Professor Standing states that there are 6 key structures that as we move through the 2010s to 2020s, we are seeing and experiencing in our society. Now, this pyramid image here demonstrates that whilst the core working class is located within the middle, their growth has moved towards a precariat, a social class whose anger is growing and support and care for the future requires constant surveillance and support from not only government bodies, but also the greater non-government organisations to ensure that they are not pushed down into the unemployed or lumpen. As it is, the global and local economy demands cannot be met within the current system. Therefore, the precariat carries transformative potential. As part of the precariat, ECTs, early childhood teachers, need to realise their potential and be empowered to fight for fundamental changes in income distribution and claim their voice as a profession. Guy Standing's work around the transformation of the global economy, including the rise of computerisation, globalisation of the labour force, pharmacological, technological industries, all provide a way to identify a new class. This reshaping that has occurred due to these changes has left many workers further behind and has seen instead a new phase of capitalism, where the gap between social classes of society are widening, as between early childhood teachers and school teachers. And returning to that discussion of wages, the salaries of an early childhood education profession is where there is a precarity trap, which in essence means and sees the inequalities develop as the world continues to move forward with regards to changing class and employment and employability structure, leading to teachers being known as and part of the flexible, open labour market. These professionals are often unable or maybe even be reluctant to be seen as identified as professionals, and instead they make fun of their status, saying, oh, we just play with children, or we're just babysitters. However, what we are seeing now is a rise of the precariat and the strength of the numbers wanting to make change and have an impact on the lives of children that they are caring for. Moreover, they actually realise they need to make an impact and raise their voices for themselves in order for them to be able to survive as functional and contributing members of society. It is this hidden form of inequality and inequity that is adversely seen and experienced by the precariat. And furthermore, these teachers and educators are forced to work for labour, which loosely refers to them having to complete a range of activities in order to support their basic needs. This is clearly seen in preschool and long daycare services, where teachers are required to clean tables, mop floors, change children's clothing, and so forth. There is no one else in the service who's going to come in when they are not there and complete the cleaning. There are no ground staff who come and ensure that the rubbish bins are collected. It is the duty of the early childhood teacher to be responsible for these tasks. Now, if we were to look at Standing's pyramid and consider it in terms of movement, One thing I noticed was it could be considered by something like a pebble being dropped into the ocean. And when a pebble is dropped onto the water, there is a ripple effect that causes the water to displace and change to occur. This same picture can be used in describing the global financial crisis. Given the changes in the market and for many people's lifestyle, the GFC is the pebble that has been dropped in the pond of humanity. And the one and only people who survive are those who are affected by the smallest ripple, that is, the elite. Whilst aware of the action, they're not impacted, but anything else, and therefore they remain intact. Whilst those who are affected the most by the increasing number of disturbances made to their livelihood affected and are affected by everything around them. And these lumpen people, which are so close to the precariat. Now, where there is no equity, a key factor that needs to be taken into consideration is to what level or amount does the profession, or indeed the professional, have autonomy. So what's happening? What has to happen from here? Well, medicine and law have solidified in their credibility as professions, yet their history is attaining this status and stature reveals complexity, debate and conflict. And the teaching profession is diverse and ideological and hooks into the vagaries of transforming production and consumption, as Cruz and Johnson put it. And furthermore, contrasts are captured between the noun teacher and educator. Why are school teachers differentiated from early childhood educators? While this binary opposition requires attention, it's been further fragmented as early childhood teachers, not educators, have gained differential qualifications, credentials and payment for their work. As a growing profession, it is imperative that both the paraprofessional, that is the early childhood educators, and the professional, early childhood teachers, embrace their unique differences in order to raise the professionalisation of early childhood education and transform the understanding of care. Most importantly, while attention must be placed on the pay and conditions of workers, there remains an imperative to focus on the rights of children. Moreover, it is not and would never be expected that a doctor would ever go on strike over pay and working conditions, and perhaps in part that is because they are already well paid, as Cruz and Coburn and Willis have talked to us about. Similarly, it is due to the support and rigorous guidelines that are set out for the medical profession, even in the early careers. This professional learning is offered by governing bodies such as the AMA, law councils, and both bodies not only care for early career professionals, but also engage in rigorous debates and support for the structure and development of these professionals. Therefore, it is clear that early childhood education requires a policy environment, a degree structure, and professional bodies to align in a goal to provide support and learning trajectory for the profession. This policy environment must build alignments between early childhood and school teaching. To enact this project, a university education must transform the regulatory environment for graduates. They must offer a matrix of support, a dialogue collaboration, alongside attention to working conditions and pay levels. There is much work to be done here. One thing we must also remember is that teaching is a profession that teaches all other professions. Thank you and all the best.